How's it going, everyone? Mega Mashers here, and I want to apologize again for not being 100% when it comes to my voicing in this video, but I want to do my best to push out content for you guys to enjoy. So, anyways, this video features my second installment on my Rate My Team series, and I'm going to explain the roles of each and every single Pokemon in this team, so I hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. So allow me to introduce you to one of three members of the very infamous and very effective Water, Fire, and Grass Core, Gyarados, or when it Mega Evolves, Mega Gyarados. The item for choice for Mega Gyarados, or sorry, for regular Gyarados is going to be its Gyaradosite, which allows for you to achieve Mega Evolution in battle. The ability is going to be Intimidate. That way, it allows for you to take hits better on the physical side due to the fact that you lower your opponent's attack by one stage, which is always nice. As for the EV spread, 252 is going to go into attack, 4 into special defense, and 252 into speed, and it'll go with an adamant nature to further boost your attack. Now, as for the first move, we have Dragon Dance, and Dragon Dance is what makes this set insanely deadly. It boosts your attack and speed by one stage. Also, a quick note, upon Mega Evolving, this Pokemon gains the ability Mold Breaker. So that means that any abilities that would otherwise hinder any moves of Gyarados in any way, shape, and form would be ignored. So say, for example, if you had Earthquake on a Pokemon with Mold Breaker, then Pokemon like Rotom Wash, who is weak to Electric, but kind of gains that immunity thanks to Levitate, Mold Breaker ignores Levitate and bops Rotom Wash for its Earthquake weakness, so that's just something to keep in mind. But this right here is going to utilize Stab only, because I find that you have a lot of great coverage just between two moves, being Waterfall and Crunch. Waterfall, being its first move, is a solid base 80 Stab with a 20% chance to flinch, so that's just always nice. Next, we have Crunch. The fact that Mega Gyarados gets Crunch complements the fact that it's a part Dark type because it gets Stab, and Crunch is just so lethal. It's so lethal. It just it makes Gyarados just that much more of a threat, or I should say Mega Gyarados. Also, another thing I want to point out is Gyarados' pre-evolution type is Water and Flying, but Mega Gyarados is Water and Dark. So I just wanted to give a quick reminder to those in case you are either unaware of it or forgot or whatever. So anyways, the last move that we have is Substitute. I love Dragon Dance Substitute Mega Gyarados. I've trolled hell out of quite a few battlers. In fact, I made one guy rage quit on Pokemon Showdown. He was like, I hate people like you, and then just rage quit. I'm like, oh, okay, you're lost, dude. I mean, I'm not really the bitter type when it comes to battling. I mean, you know what? You win some, you lose some. I've won and lost more than my fair share of battles, and I sit there with a smile on my face and say good game, because that's what it is, man. It's all about being a good sport and having fun. If you're not having fun and you're not a good sport, then you got something wrong with you. Um, so yeah, what Substitute does is it allows for you to make a decoy to protect you from the likes of seriously damaging moves or status moves that would otherwise screw with this set. However, it does take away 25% of your health, so you must keep that in mind. So, with that being said, that's member number one. How about we go into the second member of the Water, Fire, and Grass Core? So the next Pokemon I'd like to introduce you to is Heatran. Heatran is going to be a specially defensive tank, and its role is to basically set up entry hazards and taunt slower entry hazard or any status users. And we also have Roar to allow you to cause the shuffling effect. That way it limits Pokemon that either set up or try to outstall you. Now, just a quick note, I forgot to mention for Mega Gyarados' role, it's to basically sweep the fuck out of anything that it can. I mean, after you grab a couple of Dragon Dances, which can be very easy for Mega Gyarados because the thing is bulky as hell, and it has base 155 attack, so the thing is going to be sweeping face, and it's going to just love wreaking havoc on your opponent's team. So anyways, back to Heatran. The item of choice for Heatran is going to be Leftovers, to allow you to have passive recovery at the end of each turn, which is its only form of recovery in this situation. But Heatran is known to take a ton of hits and pose very nice sustainability and survival instinct. So the ability is going to be Flash Fire, and what Flash Fire does is it grants you an immunity to fire type attacks, thus also boosting the power of your fire type moves, which is very nice. As for the EV spread, 248 is going to go into its HP, 252 into its special defense, and 8 into speed, and we'll go with the calm nature and have an IV of 0 attack. Now, the reason for the 0 attack IVs is so that you take less damage from foul play, which is a very, very lethal move if you are a setup sweeper. So the reason for 248 HP is so that you are at an odd HP number. That way you can switch into entry hazards for an extra turn. Um, I think that's actually pretty effective and quite the way of manipulation when it comes to somewhat getting around entry hazards, I guess, for lack of a better word. So the first move that we have is Lava Plume, and Lava Plume hitting off an uninvested base 130 special attack is still going to hurt like a bitch. And what's nice about this move is it has a 30% chance to burn your opponent. So that's where the fact that we have a bunch of special defense investment into Heatran, because there's no way of boosting its special defense, but say if you burn your opponent, well, you have a pseudo boost to your defense, because what burn does is it cuts the attack of your opponents in half. Unless, of course, it has guts, then get the fuck out of there. So next, we have Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks is an entry hazard that damages opponents switching in based on their type. So if it's something that a Pokemon is weak to, being to rocks, then it's going to cause some severe damage to them. But if Pokemon resist rock-type moves, then it's not going to do that much damage. The next move that we have is Taunt. Taunt is a great way to shut down slower Pokemon that tend to want to either set up on you by sweeping or set up on you in ways of entry hazards. And this is great because this shuts down so many Pokemon. I've had many success with Heatran, sorry. And lastly, we have Roar. Roar is like the ultimate go fuck yourself to any setup sweepers, because not only does it force your opponents to switch out and bring in a random Pokemon, but if you have entry hazards on the field, then you're going to be racking up crazy amounts of hazard damage, which is very nice. So basically, if I didn't say this already, the role for Heatran is to basically be an annoying, tanky little fucker that just roars and shuffle stalls you all day long. So that's 2 out of 3 members of the Water, Fire, and Grass Corps. How about we introduce you to the last one? So allow me to introduce you to the third member of this epic team, Chestnut. Chestnut is what completes the Water, Fire, and Grass Corps, and this is the physically defensive wall of my team. This basically walls out a ton of Pokemon. It walls out the likes of Landorus T, it walls out Rotom Wash, even though it doesn't have any special defensive investment, it resists both water and electric type moves. And this Pokemon just eats up physical hits all day, every day. And the thing never dies. Even though it has a 4 times weakness to bird spam, being Talonflame, well, you got Heatran to cover that, so you got nothing to worry about. So the item of choice for Chestnut is going to be Leftovers, and Leftovers allows for you to have passive recovery at the end of each turn. Now you stack that up with the fact that it gets Leech Seed, and you Leech Seed stall/recover health, you're going to be nearly unkillable, basically. So the ability is going to be Bulletproof, and what Bulletproof does is it makes you immune to ball and bomb moves. So I just want to make note that that means Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb. They don't affect Chestnut. That's amazing. And Shadow Ball is really the only good ghost type stab there is on the special side. So you kind of have a pseudo ghost immunity, I guess. I mean, you do have to deal with the likes of Shadow Claw or Phantom Force or Shadow Sneak or whatever, but they're all physical moves. Nothing's going to happen with Chestnut. So as for the EV spread, 248 is going to go into its HP, 252 into its defense, and 8 into speed, and we'll go with an Impish Nature. Now, again, the reason for the odd HP number is so that you can switch into entry hazards more, plus the extra 8 speed allows for you to outpace uninvested Chestnut, which if they run something like special defense or whatever and not speed, then you'll be able to always have that jump on them. So the first move that we have is Drain Punch. Drain Punch is, oh my god, like it's what make this Pokemon very lethal in battle. Its stab and hitting off a base 107 attack is quite respectable, and even uninvested, you're still going to cause some damage. And what's even better about this is that half the damage you inflict comes back to you in health regain. That's fucking sick. The next move that we have is Spiky Shield, which is a signature move of Chestnut, while Cacturn and Maractus end up gaining that move through Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but this to me is the originator of Spiky Shield spam. And what this does is it acts as a full-out protect, and any Pokemon that use any contact moves while using Spiky Shield, it's basically running into the equivalent of a Rocky Helmet. You lose 1/8 of your health, where Rocky Helmet, you lose 1/6 of your health. And I will make a quick note that Rocky Helmet can be a viable item choice on Chestnut. This basically makes you an even larger deterrence from any physical attackers. So the next move that we have is Spikes, and what Spikes does is it basically ignores any type advantage or disadvantage, and it deals 1/8 damage per switching into the field with spikes on that side of the opponent's field. I will say it will not affect the likes of those with Magic Guard, Flying, or Levitate. These are strictly ground-based entry hazards, whereas something like Stealth Rocks, like I said, it doesn't care what type you are, and it's going to damage you based on your resistances and weaknesses to rock-type moves. And lastly, we have Leech Seed. Leech Seed is like the coup de grace of this set, and what this does is it drains 1/8 of your opponent's health, and if this Pokemon is facing against an opponent that has a very beefy HP stat, you're going to be stealing back quite a bit of HP, so you can basically spam Spiky Shield and Drain Punch. Spiky Shield, Drain Punch. This thing is annoying as fuck. So this right here complements the Water, Fire, and Grass core, and this is just really amazing. You have Mega Gyarados as your designated sweeper, you have Heatran as your designated special wall, and you have Chestnut as your designated physical wall. But there's got to be more to this team than just 3 members, and I'm about to introduce them to you right now. So the next Pokemon on this team is a fucking nuke. And you know what? Just now, I thought of this. Kyurem Black and Mega Gyarados are my offensive core. Basically, they just tear shit up with no remorse, and they do so pretty damn well. So, the item of choice for Kyurem Black is going to be Life Orb, which at the cost of 10% of your health, you gain a 30% power boost to all of your moves. The ability is going to be Terravolt, which is no different than Mold Breaker. This hits through abilities such as Sturdy and Levitate, and it just so happens that this Pokemon happens to have a Ground-type move, hint hint Rotom Wash, you better watch your ass, otherwise we put out of order. And as for the EV spread, we got 4 into attack, 252 into special attack, and 252 into speed, and we'll go with a naive nature to lower your special defense and increase your speed. So the first move that we have is Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw is a very reliable base 80 stab type move that hits on the physical side. You can use Outrage, but if you are worried about being locked into Outrage and have to deal with fairies switching in, then Dragon Claw, in my opinion, is more reliable. Next, we have Ice Beam. Ice Beam punishes Dragon-type Pokemon and anything else that is very weak to Ice-type attacks. And this also punishes the likes of Chestnut, too, which could present a threat to this team. But you have Pokemon like Heatran and Kyurem Black to deal with that. It deals with Pokemon like Landorus T, Landorus I, if it stays in OU, deals with Dragonite, and it actually hits through multi-scale. Not that that matters anyways, because Ice Beam is a 4 times super effective on Dragonite, and with a Life Orb boost and maximum special attack investment, man, fuck your multi-scale. Fuck your multi-scale. You're gonna get blown back. The next move that we have is Earth Power. Ooh, Rotom Wash. I might suggest you don't spam in battle, because what Kyurem Black is capable of is hitting past your Levitate, and you get completely demolished. by Earth Power, which is a base 90 special ground type move that just it obliterates Pokemon like Rotom Wash and Heatran, which are also two Pokemon that could cause this team problems. And lastly, we have Fusion Bolt. Fusion Bolt is an electric type move that hits for base 100 damage and it's physical. And with the Life Orb boost, you smash through Pokemon like Azumarill and any other bulky water type Pokemon such as Gyarados, Mega Gyarados, and it just fucks shit up big time. I really don't need to go into detail about the role of this Pokemon. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I've also kind of said it already. Along with Mega Gyarados forms an offensive core, and they both just fuck shit up. Like, it's not even funny. It's actually quite scary. So it's time to move on to the next teammate. Here we go. Our fifth member of this epic Pokemon team is the Pokemon version of a Power Ranger. This thing is badass as fuck. So the role of this Pokemon is actually quite simple. Trap those goddamn airplane dragons, being Latios and Latias, because they love to defog and get rid of all your entry hazards. But guess what? They can't use defog because it's going to get the Defiant boost thanks to the fact that it lowers your evasiveness by one stage. And what Defiant does... Okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but fuck it. What Defiant does is for every time you have a stat drop, your attack increases by 2 stages. So this also gives the big fuck you to defoggers, also gives you the big fuck you to intimidate users, because intimidate ain't gonna do shit. It ain't gonna do shit! Ha 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 ha! Yes! So, the item of choice for Bisharp is Assault Vest, and this is an unusual item, but it actually works out very well with Bisharp. What Assault Vest does is it locks you into attacking moves only, but it boosts your special defense by 50%. And the reason for Assault Vest is so that you can take special attacks more comfortably from the likes of Latios and Latias, which would otherwise steamroll the shit out of this team, possibly. The ability, well, I already went over that. Defiant basically screws over Intimidate and Defog users. The EV spread, 248 is going to go into its HP, 252 into its attack, and 8 into speed, and will go with an Adamant nature to further boost your attack. Now, in this moveset here, I have Iron Head and triple Dark type Stab, which all have their own uniqueness about them. So Iron Head deals 80 base damage, and not to mention it's Steel type and has a 30% chance to flinch, which definitely is nice. And with the Assault Vest boost, you're able to switch into the likes of Clefable pretty easily too. So the next move that we have is Pursuit. Pursuit is yum yum, because this is the move that traps Latios and Latias. If you feel like that you're going to switch, well, guess what? Pursuit is a base 40 Dark type move that turns into base 80 if you switch out, and, well, you basically go down thanks to the fact that it's a base 80 type move, and it's Dark, and it's Stab, with base 125 attack, full investment, Adamant. Man, fuck your dragon airplanes. Fuck them. The next move that we have is Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch bypasses the fact that you're slow as shit, because this basically allows for you to attack your opponents before they attack you. And Sucker Punch on Bisharp is very lethal. It's so effective. And lastly, we have Knockoff. Knockoff is a great Dark-type move for Bisharp due to the fact that not only is it Stab, it's a utility check, and upon the removal of your opponent's held items thanks to Knockoff, it gets a 50% power boost. So that is going to cause immense damage. And this is also one of the true Aegis/check/counters. I just want to put that out there, but you know, it's kind of irrelevant because Aegis/Slash is in Ubers, and it should stay in Ubers. It's a great Pokemon, it's one of my favorites, but it's too over-centralizing and too overpowering for the metagame. So, that's all I have to say about this set. It's time to move on to our last, but certainly not the least member. Here we go. Lastly, we have Clefable. Clefable's function is to be the team's cleric, and thanks to Magic Guard and its relatively good bulk and awesome typing, this thing is very reliable. Not to mention, as a bonus, this forms a very unusual yet very effective Steel, Dragon, and Fairy type core, because you have Heatran being part Steel, you have Kyurem Black being part Dragon, and you have Clefable being Fairy. So it actually works. Fucking A, that's awesome. So the item of choice for Clefable is going to be Leftovers, and what Leftovers does is it allows for you to have passive recovery at the end of each turn. The ability is going to be Magic Guard. Magic Guard is so awesome because the only way that you can damage this thing is through direct attacks. Any attacks that cause indirect damage has no effect on Clefable. That means you can Toxic it, you can burn it, you can set it in a Sandstorm, set it in Hail, you can do whatever you want, but guess what? Magic Guard is like, no can do. Clefable ain't going to be damaged unless you directly attack it, and even still, this thing's bulky, ain't going to go down easy. And look at that face. Does that look like the face of Mercy to you? I don't think so. As for the EV spread, we have 252 into its HP, 152 into its defense, and 104 into special defense. And we'll go with the bold nature to further boost your physical defense. And the attack IVs is going to be 0. That way you take little damage from the likes of foul play. And with this EV spread, you have 242 in both your defense and special defense, and with 394 HP, that is solid bulk right there. Like, you can take hits from both the physical and the special side. So the first move that we have is Moonblast. Moonblast is a very lethal special fairy type move that deals 95 base damage, and it has a 30% chance of lowering your opponent's special attack by 1 stage. So that is very nice. And hitting off an uninvested base 95 special attack, it's going to do respectable damage. The next move that we have is Aromatherapy, and what Aromatherapy does is it cures you and any of your teammates of any status affliction. So this basically gives the big to any team that heavily rely on status and shuffling to win battles. The next move that we have is Wish, and what Wish does is it's a 2-turn healing move. Basically what happens is the first turn you send out a wish, and if you want to switch out and switch into a Pokemon that has low health, what Wish does is it heals them according to 50% of your HP total. So with base 95 HP, that's going to be healing up your teammates quite a bit, and it'll give them more staying power. And lastly, we have Protect, and Protect goes very solid with this set. Not only does it scout, not only does it stall for leftovers recovery, but if you yourself need that Wish pass, then what Wish does is it activates on the second turn, and you actually get healed up, and with Protect, well, you got nothing to worry about. You get healed for free, basically. So, that's really all I have to say about Clefable. Now, before I end this video, there are a couple of notable weaknesses that you do have to deal with on this team. Weakness number 1 is you have 3 Pokemon on this team that are weak to fighting type attacks. And if Gyarados Mega Evolves, that's 4. You have Heatran, you have Kyurem Black, and you have Bisharp with the 4 times weakness to fighting type attacks. But Clefable is there to protect those guys from fighting type attacks, and with its good mixed bulk, it's going to have no problems. The next thing I want to point out is the fact that it has no way of getting rid of any entry hazards on your side of the field. Basically what this is, it's a case of having to plan around it and basically set up as many entry hazards as you can to inconvenience your opponents, but they're easily able to set up entry hazards if they are not yet taunted by Heatran. But you know what? I will point out that there is not a single team that can counter every single kind of Pokemon and every single kind of playstyle. So you have strengths and weaknesses in every single team. The last team I presented didn't have a reliable cleric, so it had no way of having any protection from any status afflictions. Like if you had your Landorus burnt or poisoned or anything like that, that's it. Game over. Like, this thing is put on a timer. But all in all, that team is pretty solid, and this team is also pretty solid. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching this video. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this installment on Rate My Team. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to leave a like and share this video, as this really helps out the channel and the rest of its contents. If you want to see more videos like the one that you just saw, then hit up that subscribe button and join the Mega Express today to become a valued and epic passenger on this wild ride through the Pokemon world. Also, be sure to leave me your feedback about this Rate My Team video. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you didn't like about it. Tell me if there are any set ideas I should change or any Pokemon that I should substitute out for replacement. And also be sure to leave any requests in the comment box down below on what you would like to see in the near future. And finally, be sure to check out Poketown, Cat's Epic Pokemon Cloning Group, and Pokemon Central, which are 3 very amazing groups on Facebook that I will leave links to in the description box down below. And as a disclaimer that I forgot to make at the beginning of this video, this team idea, came from me. I created this team. It was sitting in one of my team slots on the save files on my Pokemon Showdown profile, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pull it out because it looks pretty damn good. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and feel free to try with this team. You guys have my full permission to do so. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. I shall see you guys next upload.